What's good, everybody? What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Mama Knows Best.
Finally.
Excuse me.
Because we've been on a hiatus. I mean, we got to keep the momentum going. This is ridiculous that we're just now getting to episode 22. I just want to say that. But for our fans, it wasn't me. But go ahead.
Well, it is typical of a woman to always blame the black man, right? And so, they take no accountability. It's, we're going to blame the black man, right? Why is my life not going right? Oh, we're going to blame the black man. You know what I'm saying? Why can't I find a black man? I'm going to blame the black man. So I need all my MKB followers to put hashtag blame the black man. We've been through 21 episodes, right? This is episode number 22. We've been through 21 episodes, and Mama still doesn't follow the rules. So hey, the reason why I struggle with leadership, hashtag blame the black man. Okay. But today I'm super excited. We will be talking about, as you can see with the title, we're going to be talking about this election, one of the most impactful, one of the most influential and consequential elections that we will be having on November 5th between Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump. So I had.
Can I say that Thailand is looking real nice right about now?
You might have an engineering degree, but I don't know if you can even spell Thailand. Okay, so I brought out the Black Lives Matter fro. I took the braids out. I went from Pop Smoke to Al Sharpton, right? I went from Pop Smoke to Martin Luther King for this episode to talk about this topic, because truly I am way more blacker than you. You are bougie. You look down on black people. I am black. I don't know if you are black. And we will be welcomed by my brother Jordan Glover on for this topic.
Yes.
Him and his mother are political savants. I already told him he better come on here. He better act right. So let's any more comments?
Now go bring light skin to the building.
As we said in the introduction, we will be talking about obviously the election. We wanted to focus on this episode Kamala Harris, because obviously she's a black woman.
Is she? The people want to know, is she?
Well, we'll be talking about Kamala Harris on this episode because she is more relatable for us, right? And so we'll be having a topic. We are going to be bringing on my brother Jordan Glover, and I'm excited to bring him on, Mr. Glover. But before you get on here, I'm going to tell you the rules of this. This is my podcast, right? It says Mama Knows Best, Sorta, but I ain't the puppeteer, okay? So you are my brother, okay? I've known you for 10 plus years, but I want you to know you will speak when spoken to, okay? You will not talk out of turn. You are free to interrupt. You are free to interrupt Mama, because she knows she doesn't really know anything, okay? But when you see son talking, you are not allowed to interrupt me, and I want your points to be concise. The only person that's allowed to be long-winded on this podcast is son. I have the ability to mute you and Mama. So I see you came on here with this nice sweater and these glasses that look like they're $200.
Another engineer in the building.
You already know, Mama.
So I want you to. Do you understand the rules?
I guess as far as you're gonna get me to.
But no, this is my brother, Mr. Glover. Man, tell the audience, what you're going to school for. I guess we can start off on how we met and how we have our relationship, and how do you know Mama?
Yeah, man. What's up, everybody? My name is Jordan. I am a senior at Wichita State. I'm studying aerospace engineering, so I'm learning how to make planes fly. I'm in my graduating year. Happy to be done pretty soon.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I've known Christian, aka Son, over here for a good while. We were, we met back in like middle school. I think we was in band camp or something, like coming 5th grade, 6th grade. Yeah, so that's when I first met the dude. Complete standout guy from everybody inside of the class. This dude was one who stuck out like a sore. Whether you talking about son saying the questionable things he's saying, the agreeable things he's saying, this is a good dude right here, but he's always been very unique. So I'm happy to be a part of the podcast today, guys. I'm happy to regroup with my boy Christian again, and of course Mama. Haven't seen these guys since we took a little vacation to Vancouver. Really cool. So happy to be back.
Yep. And shout out to your mom, because I didn't let Christians spend the night at places, and you was probably one of the probably two places I let him spend the night overnight, because we wasn't allowing kids spend the night at people's houses. But
Oh
shout
yeah,
out to
yeah.
your
No,
mama.
mama
Yeah.
whoop son butt if he had to. If she had to.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Now we're going to come on here. We're going to talk about Kamala Harris. I'm excited for this topic, right? Now, Jordan, you are very politically sound. I see a lot of your posts. You're very in the end when it comes to politics. I want to start off with you. Do you believe? Now, in fact, I'm gonna start with Mama, right? I want to give Jordan the first. No, I want to give Jordan the first rebuttal, right?
Okay.
Mama, is Kamala Harris the right candidate for the middle class?
So I don't know if I can really just answer that question. Um, I'm struggling. I'm one of those Black folks who is struggling with this election. And I know it's been kind of, okay, she's Black, she's a woman, she automatically gets my vote. Well, with me being 45, in that middle class kind of, stage in my life, I'm more concerned about the issues versus white versus Black. And there's several issues at hand. So I took some notes that is concerning to me. One, economy and inflation, abortion, rights, women, like all of these different issues that are on the table. I'm more concerned about that versus a Black woman versus a white man. So to be honest with you, is Kamala Harris right? I don't know. I feel like I need to dig further into what she's done so far as vice president and looking at our plan moving forward, because we have some real issues on the table here as just American people. Again, let's scratch Black and white, just American people. And Trump is a liar, Kamala is a liar. And as we kind of joked about before, I feel like I have to pick one of the less evils. And so that's kind of where I'm at with my stand. So I'll pause, and then Jordan, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, but no, I kind of agree with Mama a little bit here. This is more than an election of just looking for identifiers within Black people. I mean, I understand as a Black man, want to see representation within our race, especially within political means, the highest power of the country, especially. But it's more than that. Like she said, it's not about just voting for a Black woman as a Black person. Or just voting for the blue party just because you're a registered Democrat, right? It's more about what is at stake right here, and the things that we are facing in America. A lot of them say we're facing a very struggling economy right now. A lot of things have inflated to, within like 20% range, and we're paying a lot for things that shouldn't be, costing as much as they are. We're looking at that. We're looking at Roe v. Wade being overturned. We're looking at abortion laws there. We're looking at taxes. DEI is being repealed out of schools now, and this is something that I have been able to take advantage of and benefit from. And you too, Christian, you've been able to have some advantages because of like DEI scholarships and things. And a lot of these things are just are on the table right now. And so America is really at a standstill, and they're really having to look between options right now. Like, am I going to take this and sacrifice this, or vice versa?
So I'm assuming that you're saying that Kamala Harris is the right candidate for the middle class.
So to go with that, so is Kamala Harris the right candidate? I would say personally, she's a decent fit. Now, I can't really describe a perfect candidate to run for this race. However, Kamala Harris is not a bad fit for it. Could it be better? Sure. But what does that look like? Don't know, right? So we have to go by what we have, what her policies are saying. And as far as I'm concerned for right now, I think it's a decent fit. If we're just completely disregarding race, gender, she has something on the table that she's willing to run with.
Absolutely. Those are great points. I love the points that Mama was talking about, kind of just being able to separate and looking at the candidate, you know, and it's kind of powerful for you coming from being a Black woman and saying like, yo, I'm not even looking at her being a woman. I'm trying to look at the policies. I'm trying to look at what has affected me. Jordan, some of the points you made as far as DEI, how we've benefited in the education system from it, how they're trying to, you know, repeal and overturn that. Personally, you know, Mizzou has gotten rid of some of those scholarship programs that allowed me to come out debt-free, you know, and so there is a lot of things on the table. Women's rights, right? Abortion rights, and, you know, having control over their body is on the table. So you're right? And so I'm not saying the Republicans are the right candidate for the middle class or in particular Trump, but I would say, is Kamala the right candidate? Hell no. I don't think so at all. I think from Kamala's standpoint, I think that the things we're talking about, how I kind of broke it up for me was money, right? Was money. I took notes. I want to say money, education, and then inflation, right? I feel like those are the three biggest things that people are affected in today's society, right? On a normal daily basis, those social issues are big, right? I get those things, but like when this Zoom ends or when we post out this video, or whatever, we're going to walk in a daily walk of money, education, which is our career, which led to that, right? And inflation. And so for me, I think obviously the biggest thing is like we've been dealing with stagnant wages, right? Yeah, unemployment is down, but with the steady inflation that's been going on, the wages have not been going on, right? So it's just like, yeah, okay, more people will get employed, but things are costing a lot more money. So again, it's almost like crushing and crippling the middle class because people aren't getting paid enough to keep up with the rising cost of everything around them. Rent, food prices, gas prices, right? The simple things you do on a weekly basis, forget a monthly basis. We talk about education, Jordan. I did some research this week, and 51%, right, of college students that earn a bachelor's degree from a public or private school, public or private school, right, are in debt. So again, you do the right thing by going to school. You're told to go get a bachelor's degree, but then on the flip side, right, you're going to be in some level of debt. Luckily for me, I had two parents that fought to ensure that I wasn't in student debt. But what about those people that are in that middle class, lower middle class, or maybe even a poverty line, right, that are doing things right, but they need loans to be able to finish that degree. So now they're coming out with debt. They're getting a job that's not paying enough to keep up with the inflation costs. So it's like you see kind of like how it's a ripple effect of like, okay, you're getting crushed here, you're getting crushed here, you're getting crushed here. And then let's take it to my last point, was just like I want to say, particularly for an inflation, right? A particular issue, food. You know, I gave a story. I was out door dashing, right? Because I have to, right? And I was out there door dashing. I went to McDonald's. I'm like, man, I'm hungry. I'm gonna go get an ice cream cone just to hold me over, just something cheap. And I don't want to buy food while I'm out there making money. That defeats the whole purpose of you going out and working, right? And I was like, man, I'm gonna get an ice cream cone. The ice cream cone was $2.89 or $3.89. I'm like, so when I worked at McDonald's, right, for 4 years, when I was 15 to 18, and now 5 years later, when it was $1.10, now the ice cream cone at McDonald's is $3.89. And it's a silly example, but I think it's a simple one that anyone that's listening, you guys been on here, can understand of like, yo, they are crushing us. And I feel like with Kamala and Joe Biden, they promised a lot of things of like, hey, we're going to assist. Hey, we're going to help out with student loans. We're going to cancel student debt, right? We're going to do this and that. And I'm like, yo, that is my problem with Kamala's like, hey, you have 4 years of trying to help out different things. I didn't see enough action points. So I'm going to let Jordan kind of respond to what I said.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like, especially when you're saying with the economy and things like that. So this is kind of where I am with it. We are, like we say, we are in a bad economy. We can both agree on that. We are in a horrible inflation, likely due to a recession, completely from, years ago when we were dealing with the pandemic and things like that. So absolutely. Americans are facing a hard problem when it comes to wages. Like you said, we're facing a hard problem when it comes to economy, yada, yada, yada there. However, that's how I feel. So I think one big misconception that Americans always get is the role of president and vice president. And so the way I see this is, I agree with most Americans when they say Joe Biden didn't do a lot. I'm kind of with that statement. They did promise a lot of things, or at least his presidential campaign did promise a lot of things, and didn't really start acting on those things till later in his term when it was time for looking for re-election. Hence why he's now dropped out of the race, right? So this is what I think about Kamala. Kamala has a different standpoint from what Biden was going off of. Kamala actually has policies like written out on her website. And then I personally do think that the tax plan that they're working on, as well as like the inflation plan, I think personally, I think these are going to be like some kind of fixes to this economy. The reason why I believe that the economy is in the state of it is right now is that we're seeing these backlash effects from the recession we had from COVID. I mean, you're taking a lot of Trump supporters say, you know, we want those gas prices back. We want those $1.50, $1.25 gas prices back. Well, okay, let's understand why that happened, right? We're smart people. We know how supply and demand works. So if you're going to have a large amount of supply, you're going to have a low amount of demand for that same product. You know, prices are going to go down. You come back from this inflate or from the recession, you know, America starts operating normally again. Things are going to start hiking back up to the prices that they were, or you know, even inflating as we've seen now. So we're just kind of seeing these like backlash effects, right?
Yeah.
People had to lower their prices. A lot of businesses were shut down. Things were all different during the pandemic time. So now we're just kind of seeing it, you know, the economy trying to build itself back up. Well, Americans trying to build themselves back up. Corporations and companies, CEOs trying to regain on their product. We're seeing all these backlash effects now. And I believe, well, you know, this personally, I think this is because of the Trump presidency, that it wasn't handled well during the pandemic time. We're seeing this now.
Absolutely. That's great points. The recession, the pandemic was a thing that obviously Trump didn't handle well, and we are seeing the rippling effects of whatever. Now, we talked about Kamala and her effects on the middle class. Mommy made some great points. Glover made some great points. I kind of want to keep the conversation rolling. I want to ask you guys straight up, and I'll start with you, Mama. Has the Democratic Party failed Black people?
That's kind of a layered question. So
super layered. But
I'm just gonna just give. So first of all, I was just raised, you just vote Democrat. It was growing up in what you call I guess faith-based home. We just voted Democrat. But if you look in history, Black people originally wasn't Democrats. They was more Republican, you know, because of the president of the Emancipation Proclamation that was for Black people. Black people were originally more Republican. The switch kind of came in the early 1900s when the Republican Party started turning more into businesses, kind of getting away from Black American rights and, you know, forward movement. So did they fail it? I would say more or less the Republicans kind of failed more so.
We're talking about today, though, from a today standpoint. I like that you brought in a historical standpoint, but today in the 21st century, right, has a Democratic Party done enough for Black people?
Tomato. No, I would say they have not. You know, it's there again. I'm not really wanting to do black or white. I'm trying to stick more on just the American people, more social class standpoint. I would say, have they done right by poor people? No, they haven't.
Well, Glover, can you answer the question?
I know that's what it's kind of hard for me to just kind of.
She's not answering it. So I'll respond. I feel like the Democratic Party has failed the Black community in the 21st century. If we want to make it more specific, I want to start off with the rhetoric in the last couple of years. It's kind of really pissed me off. Right, the rhetoric has been out of control. Joe Biden saying that, hey, you ain't Black if you don't vote for me and you vote for Donald Trump. More recently, in the last couple of months, the last couple of weeks, right, with Obama coming out and attacking a Black man, simply saying that, hey, he feels like a lot of the Black men that are leaning towards Trump we're voting for Trump because we don't want a woman to be in power, right? To me, the rhetoric and the entitlement, right? And so it's like, hey, you believe that just because an individual is black, he needs to be married to the Democratic Party, right? You believe because an individual is black and there is a minority as a candidate, there is a woman as a candidate, that we should automatically be in line with the Democratic Party, right? And for me, because we're going to focus on the Democratic Party, I don't get that same rhetoric from Republicans. Republicans are like, hey, here are my points. This is what we believe. Take it or leave it. I'm not saying I agree with those points. I'm not saying I agree with their rhetoric, but I don't really hear Republicans saying, hey, you're not black if you don't agree with these values.
But that's how it's been in the past. It's been, again, we grew up in a household, everybody vote Democratic.
But you don't see a problem with that?
I think now there is a problem, because now we're saying, hold on, this is not working. So I guess going back to what you said originally, yes, we're realizing, going back to the issues at hand with, the economy, healthcare, women's rights, we're like, hold on. We're now, I think the Black community is now more focused on the issues versus, okay, this is what I used to do because that's what my mama did. I buy Tide because it's my mama bought Tide. We're now like, well, why are we buying it now? We're now like, hey, hold up. We need to be, from my perspective, I just have a friend here in Tampa was getting ready to die because the pregnancy was draining her body, that she almost literally had to die to get a DNC. So I'm faced with people, and you all may not have experienced it yet, where I'm facing people with real life issues. So I think the Black community as a whole is now more woke. I know
that's fair. You made a point earlier, and Jordan, I want you to hop in here soon as well, of, hey, it was as a faith-based household. I don't understand what you mean faith. I don't think the Democratic Party is aligned with faith-based.
They're not.
A lot of their policies are not faith-based. Kamala Harris, there was a person at a rally, and I was extremely disappointed in Kamala with this. There was a person that said Jesus Christ is king or something along that lines, and she said, you're at the wrong rally. So when we say faith-based in our core values, I'm not trying to force anybody in their belief. If you Muslim, you cool, bro. If you atheist, whatever. If you Buddhist, cool. If you Jewish, cool. I don't care what you believe in. But again, because Black people don't really know sometimes how to kind of separate some of their ideologies, they blend a lot of things in. If you're going to blend it, understand what you're blending. You can't put a steak in the blender and think you're going to get a strawberry smoothie. Go ahead, Glover.
Yeah, man. So, way I feel about it, like how you were saying about the what they said about Jesus is king at Kamala's rally. This is my big thing about government right now, and to an extent, I understand what Kamala's response to that was. Go to a different rally. This ain't your rally. It could have been said differently, because number one, what does it say in the Constitution? Separating church and state, right? I believe that is one of the biggest things that needs to be held in our democracy, because America is like almost like a melting pot of different races, different heritages, of different religions. We are the biggest diverse country in the world. So if we are going to retain this status, number one, separate church and state. People have the right to pray, worship who they want to, study religion in whatever aspect they want to. And so, this is kind of what the problem I have with the Republican Party is, trying to introduce Bible schooling back into schools. Coming from a Christian, I understand, but at the same time, from our political standpoint, not supposed to happen. So going back to our point, I know I kind of got off topic there.
Those are great points. Those are great points.
Yeah. So has the Democratic Party failed Black people? And to that, I want to say not so much, but it should be better. I'm not saying it. I don't want to say it could be better. It should be better, because things do still need to change. I just don't think it could fail as much as the Republican Party is planning on failing us. Like we already talked about, they've struck in DEI out of schools. Many Black people benefit off of abortion laws. Striking that out, there's especially with Trump's new taxes plan and things like that, millions is going to be getting taxed more than ever. And as well as for billionaires, they're not going to be getting hardly any taxes. So, I mean, the Republican Party is just showing their ass like they have, big capitalist party. And so Democratic Party, I mean, like I said, they can do more for Black people. I think, starting off with trying to still bring back affordable health care for all individuals is a great start. Lowering taxes or keeping taxes the same for, individuals who are making under 400K. This is one of Kamala's policies right here. Doing this is a good start for Black people, because we know that the majority of Black people in America are fall within the middle class range, whether this is by socioeconomic status, whether this is by your location, it's all changed for us. So I think that's kind of where I want to start with that. At least I'll let you go ahead and say something.
No, those are great points. Mama, did you want to piggyback off of his points that he made?
No, I think you two did a really good job. No need to add.
Yeah, no, I like, kind of what you said, as far as like always when you're looking at the Democratic Party, you have to juxtapose it to, what the Republicans are doing, and, some of those topics that are, hitting the Black community in, straight on, Republicans are, in a sense, coming directly at, what we've been able to accomplish in our history. So that was beautifully articulated. We'll go to our last question. Glover, I'm gonna go right back to you because I want to give you a chance to respond to me and Mama on this one as well. Jordan Glover, I'm assuming, Mr. Glover, my bad for saying that full one. Mr. Glover, I'm assuming that you voted for Mrs. Harris. And I just want to understand, give us a reason give us just the main reason why you voted for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, so number one, I want to say, I'm going to be voting for Harris in this election, as I probably can already infer from me talking about the Democratic Party. Number one, I'm not a person who likes Trump, and I'm not saying that I'm soft. I don't care about what he says. I don't really care about his insults or anything like that, even though, hold on, a president shouldn't still be saying that about his American people and his constituency. But, I mean, even moving on from that, I have watched Trump debate, and I have watched Trump repeatedly lie. I don't care about where they're talking about they're not fact checking Kamala or they're over fact checking Trump, blah, 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 this. We have heard Trump lie multiple times in his rallies, in his debates. I mean, the first debate that Kamala did with Trump, he's lying about the environmental numbers and things. I mean, they asked him, I can't remember, but Trump literally just was like, I just talked to my employee backstage. He's like, we got the best numbers ever. Well, you just lied straight out of your teeth, and the whole American population is watching that. And I mean, I don't want a president who's going to lie to me. Granted, yeah, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party have been lying about a lot of things in the past. So, but I don't want somebody who's just going to blatantly do that. I don't want somebody who's going to say, sit back and stand by to Proud Boys marching to Charlottesville, North Carolina, when they're over here marching these Nazi signs. I don't want to vote for somebody who's going to incite a January 6th insurrection. They're not patriotic Americans like Trump says. They're terrorists. But so why am I voting for Kamala? Okay, well, I've looked at some of Kamala's policies and I've looked at what she's trying to do for the country. And like I said before, you got to understand the difference between a president and a vice president. Her as a presidency role, she can tackle these things that she was looking to do, or even making bills or and policies during her vice presidency. But I mean, like we said before, we're still looking at healthcare, protecting Social Security, DEI in schools, because like I said, this is something that we profited off of. And this is something I want my children to be able to profit off of, because we know how America is when it comes to us Black people trying to get into these white collar jobs. So, protect, like I said, protecting DEI, Social Security, abortion laws, the tax plans. It's just, like Mama said, still voting for the lesser of the two evils. Not saying that Kamala's the perfect candidate, but I don't want the other candidate because he's completely the not perfect candidate. So, it just comes down to maybe you don't support Kamala that much. Maybe you don't support Trump, but which one do you not support more? You have to make a decision in this election, and you're going to have to sacrifice some things, and you're going to have to pick up on some things.
I guess it's my turn, right? No, that was well said, Jordan. I'm joking because I got my 8-ball shirt on. And that little magic ball that we had as a kid, and you shake it up and then it gives you an answer. That's what I feel like right about now. Like when I say I really don't know who I am going to vote for, but like with this discussion and listening to your feedback, I feel Kamala is a safer choice for the American people. Like you said, is she the best? No. She's decent? Yes. And it's like, okay. And I hate to feel like that's the reason why I'm choosing her, selecting her. Like, as an American, citizen, got the right to vote, I want to go in there and be proud. And unfortunately, I'm not. For like, this is the first election where I'm just not excited about the two candidates. So that's my answer. So Christian, are you registered to vote? Are you?
I've gotten registered. I've been called out. So you guys,
thank God, because I was like, you are not my child.
So your answer is Kamala. Can we get
today?
Can we? I mean, Lord have mercy. Like, God.
No, but you don't understand. I'm not not saying that because I'm being difficult. This is hard for me.
I know. Well, we need an answer. I mean, Lord have mercy. It's like it's already. You've had.
I said. I mean, as of today, it would. If I was at the poll today, it would be her.
I would say about time, when I had to vote before November 5th or whatever, I will be voting for Kamala Harris. And I'm not happy about it. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'm just guilty, right? I feel like the reason I'm voting for Kamala Harris is simply because she's a woman and she might be black, right? And I just have been guilt tripped into it, you know what I'm saying? But I think if I was surrounded by more people, and I wish I would have talked to my brother Glover about this a little bit sooner, because he makes a lot of great points, and he brought up, Charlottesville and some of the things where, all Trump had to do was kind of just be a leader and kind of just shut up, right? And just kind of stick to the script. And he went off script to kind of prove, or even his rhetoric around George Floyd, those are devastating blows as a black man, as a black leader in circles that I am. There's no way I could stand beside someone like Trump and be like, yo, bro, like he's 100% behind black people. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm voting for Kamala Harris. I'm not happy about it. But I think at the end of the day, you just, I think this is hopefully, I don't say this bigger picture, right? And I'll let Jordan kind of get the closing statement after this to see if he agrees. I am kind of tired I'm disappointed because, if Kamala Harris loses, right? Let's focus on Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. If the Democratic Party loses to Trump, it's 120% their fault. Right? Because you had 4 years. They knew Joe Biden was incompetent. He was already pushing 80 or around that age, right? It was already starting to decline when he was running. And so for the last 4 years, right, when you defeated Trump, you made catastrophic. You didn't groom and put not one younger candidate in front of our face for at least 2 years to be like, okay, we have Biden now. He has some good things like the infrastructure bill. He was able to stabilize the country from a social issue type of thing. The economy is doing okay. It's on the upswing in some areas, right? But there was no candidate that they were able to groom to be like, okay, once he's done, because there's this younger, more polished one that wasn't as close to Biden. Trump would even have a shot.
Yeah,
he would even have a shot, and they didn't do that. So when November 5th comes around and the Democratic Party loses Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, those individuals, Obama, Michelle Obama, those heavy hitters of the Democratic Party fail the American people by not grooming and just bringing someone fresher and just being lazy by just letting Joe Biden just assume he's going to run again at 80 plus years and sign up for another 4 years when he's clearly incompetent. Are you kidding me? So I'm upset about it, man. Glover, go ahead. My bad. I'll let you get the final word. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Glover.
Yeah, man. No, yeah. So the Democratic Party, I mean, I do think it was a huge mistake for them to run Joe Biden in the second election at the start of this year. I do think that is one of the biggest mistakes they could have done and one of the biggest show Mike weaknesses that they've ever pulled. So you're going to switch the candidate in the middle of an election. I think it's a very bad look on the Democratic Party, personally. There were plenty of other Democratic candidates who could have ran. Gavin Newsom for California, much younger, probably would have been a better representation for the Democratic Party, right? There's other ones that you could have ran, and you ran the vice president. I mean, sure, right? Good thing we're not running Biden, at least. But at the same time, like you said, it's going to be a tough election. I'm not saying I'm voting for Kamala because she's a black woman. I don't really care about that. I mean, it's great. It's great representation. But as far as a voter standpoint, I don't really care about that. I care about what is on your policy site and what you're going to be doing there. So, granted, if it's not everything that I wanted, granted, it's not everything that the black community needs. Or even what the American people need as a whole. I have seen the other candidate as a president, and I have seen how he conducts himself as a so-called leader of this country. And so I know from experience that this man cannot get the job done because he has lied before in the past elections going against Hillary Clinton. And he's lying again in this election. I mean, you see the fact checks and all the things. You can do it yourself. You can see where stuff lines up and where things don't line up. And, regardless if Kamala's policies aren't tailored to what, most American people want, or even most of the Democratic Party want, you got to, like we said, we got to vote for the lesser of the two evils. If you're looking for black representation for in your presidency office, you're probably not going to be voting for a man who's going to be striking everything that black people benefit off of, right? So it's just kind of one of those things that, maybe this candidate isn't the best for me, but God knows that this candidate is definitely not going to be the best for me. Yeah. So, and American voters need to make that decision.
Yeah, and let's not forget he is a convicted felon who cannot vote.
39 counts of guilty convictions.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. Well, we thank everybody for another great episode. This was a phenomenal episode. One of my favorite episodes that we've done out of the now 22 that our audience have been able to see. This is definitely top 5 for me. Jordan, you were the perfect guest that we needed. And you held your brother accountable here. I appreciate you. And really, I'm thinking about it to kick off Mama and just making a brother podcast. Mama came on here just slow footed. I mean,
this is a tough one for me.
I know you have a career, but can we get some quotes we can clip off? You're not going to get a single clip off of this podcast.
Probably not, because I am not excited. This one is like, I'm not excited. I'm sorry.
Bye.
Bye.